I want you to all welcome Joseph Priestley. Would you come out? We're very glad to have you with us. Very good. All right. Now, I introduced you as the inventor of soda water, but that's really not your most famous discovery or work, your legacy. Why don't you share a little bit more about that?
Well, I had two parallel careers. I was a scientist and a theologian. In my scientific career, my most prominent discovery was the identification of oxygen. But I did other things as well. I discovered nitrous oxide, sulfur dioxide. I also had an interest in electricity. And in my theological career, I was a prominent Unitarian minister. I'm very proud, in particular, of the congregations in New England that I founded when I came to the United States in the 1790s.
You know,
just some of the
we don't see too many theologian scientists, particularly in your day. Tell me more about that combination.
Well, I tried to reconcile my science with my theological beliefs, and I felt that the strength of my theology, I had to make some changes in some of my beliefs, and many people were not comfortable with this. But I wrote everything up, and it's a shame that there aren't more theologians who are prominent in science, but I did my best to reconcile those two areas.
And you've said words to the effect of, we were created with a mind, just as we were created with a body, and we're expected to use that.
Absolutely.
And you did. And you're going to show us how you did that. But before we get to the experiment, tell us, when did you make this major discovery? How did that fit into your career?
Well, my scientific career began in my early 20s. At the same time that my teaching career began, I was also heavily involved in education and curricular design. And I guess when I was about 22, my career really started. Both of those efforts began. It took me about 20 years to establish scientifically the existence of the element oxygen and to isolate it.
And when did you finally publish?
That was in your 1776. I think that's your year of your independence.
Yeah. It's nice to know, and important for us to know that the world does not revolve around the United States in our history. That there were other things happening in the world in 1776 that our revolution may have been maybe not even in the top 10 that year of things, but we shall press on. You are going to demonstrate oxygen. Now, we in the 21st century, I know one chemical formula, element. Water is H2O, for example. And you're not dealing with water. You're going to find a way to separate oxygen from things to isolate it, which was your gift in your career. So tell us what you've brought to demonstrate that and kind of show us how you're going to do that.
Well, there are various ways to demonstrate to release oxygen. And what we're going to do is take a concentrated solution of hydrogen peroxide. It's about 3 times as concentrated as in the drugstore. Now, this would normally release oxygen over time, but we want to speed things up. So we're going to use a catalyst for that, and the catalyst is potassium iodide. So the first step is to make a water solution of potassium iodide.
No, there's not a lot there. It feels like a cooking show. There's not a lot there. Maybe a tablespoon or more. It's not a real precise measurement. That's not critical. It's a powdered form, a granular powder, a little more granular than sugar, maybe.
It dissolves fairly rapidly in water.
And this is just plain water. It dissolves very nicely. It's absolutely clear. You can't really see it in there at all.
Now, would you want to drink that? Would you want to drink that kind of water now?
Well, I don't recommend drinking chemicals. As a matter of fact, both of these have medicinal uses, as it turns out. And after the Chernobyl accident, potassium iodide was ingested by children so that they wouldn't absorb radioactive iodine. I certainly wouldn't recommend drinking this. All right, so now we have our dissolved potassium iodide, and so what we're going to do is pour some of this hydrogen peroxide in here.
Now, we're all used to hydrogen peroxide that you get from the drugstore. Now, this is actually a 3% solution. This, which chemists can get, is a 30% solution. Although this will work, we want it to be a little more spectacular for you.
It won't be all that spectacular. I just hope it'll work.
That's our famous last words. You put that on the tombstone. He wanted it to be more spectacular. Now, do you see it changing colors? And you see all the fizz?
That's amazing.
Yes, it is. It's bubbling up. No, don't worry. It'll be fine.
Now, three things are happening that we can observe. The bubbles here are oxygen, not carbon dioxide. I know how to do that too. There was also the color change. The reason for that is there's a secondary reaction going on, and the potassium iodide partly generates into iodine molecules, which are reddish in color. Iodine and septic, for example. So there's a little bit of that happening. And finally, the whole thing is heating up. And if you feel the base of this, it's quite warm.
And you will get a chance to do that. Okay, now our next step is the fun step. Yes, we were going to drink it, but that'd be the fun step. Now, everybody's ever built a fire, you know what feeds a fire? Oxygen. And so we're going to use that principle to demonstrate the oxygen that's in here. He's going to blow that out so it's just an ember. You see how that formed there you go.
So that part.
We'll just keep doing it over. All right. Now, would any of you kids like to try just this part very carefully? Come forward very carefully.
Let's do like one at a time, guys.